Our adventure today starts off at the Ramseyer Farm. It has over 45 activities for the children, along with today is homeschool day. So ages 3 and up, everybody gets in for one admission. You get to pick a pumpkin, do the corn maze, and get some education on the animals. So come along and join us and have fun today. This is the toddler area, the little corral. Then you have some petting farm goats, and there's a cow on how to demonstrate milking a cow. This place is huge. There's the slides of corn.
Side again. Come on.
A big sandbox of dried corn for the kids to play in. The barn with all the animals. And a big pumpkin you could go in and get your picture in. Back past the petting farm goats is the corn maze, and where you ride the tractors around the corn maze to see the pumpkins.
And here we have the little farmer's corral. It's a little play place for the little kids. It's got a little hay bale maze for them. It's got a play place for them to go as well. A little wooden train. It's also got a little corn sandbox pretty much, but it's filled with corn kernels and just a bunch of stuff for them to do in this little area for the little kids.
Now we're on our way to go do a corn maze.
Yeah, I'll go with you. Let's see if we can find our way out.
Doing the corn maze?
The first barn talk is going to be taking place here in just a couple minutes. If you would like to attend the first barn talk, meet us outside of the fry factory, which is right outside our big red barn, and we'll walk up to the Pioneer barn together. The hayride will take place after that barn talk, and our next barn talk is taking place at 11:30. So if you want to catch the first one, head on over to the fry factory. Thanks.
What are you doing?
You made your way out? Good boy.
I win. You win.
I win. I win.
You're gonna win. How do you get out? Okay. You're gonna win. My turn? Do a happy dance. Good.
Here's our son going down the slide.
So, these are their homemade slides that you go down in a burlap sack. Kind of like the rides at the fair. And then you have where you can take your potatoes and launch them with a slingshot. And then they have tunnels the kids can crawl through, made out of farm equipment, along with a big corn barn. And there's the goats. And there's like a fair thing you can throw to knock stuff down. This place is huge. I think she said on the hay ride they have 200. I'll sit down, babe. They have 220 acres here. And more than half of that is just the corn. Alright.
Coming down.
You did it! Mommy can't go down. You took my... Hang on. Let Mommy sit. You're... Woo! You went farther.
And these are some of the potato sack slides where you gotta get on them and go down. This is our son Ryan, gonna go down himself. Looks like with Mommy. There they go.
Take away from the gunky goo and dry them out, put them in the oven, toast them, and you can eat those. And then we were just talking about this side wall, how it's real thick. You can see it on the top that we cut, this thick part. that's actually the pumpkin part that we'll eat. So you'll have to cut your pumpkin, clean out all the seeds and the guts, and then you cook it. And this becomes soft. And you use a spoon or a fork and you scrape it away, and that becomes the pumpkin that you use for your pies or your other baking. Now, on this farm, they grow other things besides pumpkins. Can anybody name, whoa! Something in here that is technically a grass.
Hey,
You know what it is?
wheat.
Wheat, very good. It looks kind of like grass, doesn't it? Everybody look over at the door and wave to Mrs. Ramseyer. Hello, she lives here. So this is our wheat, and they grow it here. There's lots of different kinds of wheat. This is winter wheat. So they plant it in the winter. Well, technically the fall. It grows all winter, grows all spring, and they harvest it in July. Now, each little head up here has about 50 berries on it. They're called berries. Actually, the little pod, if you break it open, that's where the seed is, and they can call them wheat berries. This is what they look like when they're all taken out. Now, if we take this wheat, the wheat berries, sell them to the mill will grind them up real small, and they'll make something that white that I see on my table. Yes. Yes, very good. So our normal flour comes from our wheat. They grow it here. They store it in a big silver bin out here. There's several actually. You'll see it on your way out. That's where they store all their wheat. And it can be turned into this. Now, there's different kinds of wheat too. This wheat is made from durum wheat, and it makes this pasta. Pretty nifty, huh? Here's another type of wheat that they use to make many wheats. Did anybody eat these for breakfast today? No? Maybe another day you will. How about Teddy Grahams? Does anybody like Teddy Grahams? Yeah, okay, that has another type of wheat in there. Okay, in my basket, oh, one more special thing about wheat. They don't just use the top part, they use the bottom part too. So first, they harvest the top part, they gather all their seeds, all the berries, but the bottom part, they go back and they cut it off again in the field. And they bale it up into big square bales. You know what it's called? How about you? Straw, very good. A lot of times people say hay, but hay, the process is the same, but it's grass and things that the animals will eat. The straw, animals don't eat. It's used for bedding. It's hollow in the middle, just like a straw you would drink from. So it soaks up water and liquid that the animals leave behind, and it's their bedding, and it's what you're sitting on right now. Now on your hay ride, we call it a hay ride, but it's really straw. So maybe we should call it a straw ride. Not as fun, is it? Okay, something else in here that they grow that has ears. How about you? Yes, corn, very good. There's lots of different kinds of corn. Let me show you some. This is Indian corn, and it's very decorative and pretty. We don't eat it. It's just pretty. There's this type of corn. This is called field corn. Another word we use for this is feed corn, because we feed it to the animals. It grows on big stalks like these. Hello, come on in. We're just talking about some corn. So if we could make some room, actually there's some room right down there in the front row. So these big corn stalks that you see around here for decoration and you see out in the fields, they're very tall, aren't they? They can be way taller than I am. There's only one ear on every stalk. And the field corn, if you think of sweet corn first, we eat sweet corn in the summer, right? And when you bite into it, oh, it's so juicy and good. But field corn, this is what field corn sounds like. Are you ready? Does it sound juicy? And no, it has to harden. If we don't let it dry and get hard, then it will rot and the animals can't eat it. So in the field, you'll see, even across the street, that's not a Ramseyer field, but that's somebody else's field. There's corn growing. The corn has to grow, the ears grow, produces the corn, and then the corn has to dry. So the stalks will actually die for the corn to be hard. And then the combine comes in and harvests it. It cuts down the whole stalk, and it takes off the ears, and it even takes off the kernels from the cob. And then you get your field corn. Now, what kind of animals do you think would eat field corn like this? Let's name 3 animals that you think eat field corn. Let's see. Someone who hasn't answered yet. You're right. Cows love field corn, only they like it if at the mill they crack it. So they're not whole kernels, they're cracked for them. And then they grind it up with their teeth. Actually, it goes in, they have several stomachs. It's really fascinating. So cows like field corn cracked. What other animals do you think eat field corn? How about you?
Pigs.
Yes, pigs will eat it anyway, won't they? They'll eat it whole, they'll eat it cracked, they'll eat it cooked. Anyway, okay, one more animal. How about you?
Deer.
Deer like to eat it. They're wild animals, aren't they? And they like to sneak in the evening and eat it off the cob, and the farmer does not like that too well, do they? Well, do you think we eat field corn?
No.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, but we do. We just don't eat it like this. It's way too hard for our teeth. So we take it to the mill, just like with the wheat. They'll grind it up so it makes a flour. And they put it in things like Fritos. Yes! How many people like Fritos or corn chips? I do too. This is actually made with some field corn. Now, if you ground it up and just ate it, it wouldn't taste very good. It needs sugar and salt and other things, so that's why it tastes good for us. Something else that we eat. Corn flakes. It even has corn in the title. Did anybody have corn flakes today or frosted flakes? You did? Good. Well, then you ate some field corn. How about taco shells? Oh, they're made with a different kind of corn, but it's also a corn. And so are cornbread muffins, cornbread bread. Now, they can also take corn, like this, field corn, and they process it in a different way. And they make corn oil. And we use this for baking and cooking. They can also take our field corn and process it again a different way. And they come up with this sticky stuff called corn syrup. They use this to make our pancake syrup. They use this to make anything that needs to be sweetened. This is very sweet, almost like sugar, only you wouldn't necessarily eat it plain, but you can put it in things. People put it in things like candies.
Oh, yeah.
Candies like Starburst. They also put it in our different drinks like pop, Mountain Dew, Pepsi. Yeah, and actually, if you look on labels of just about anything, there's a lot of things that have corn syrup in it because it's a sweetener. All right, let's talk about, let me get my notes here. Oh, I need to tell you about the pumpkins. So my overhead projector doesn't work today, so I'm just going to tell you, and you're going to use your imagination. Now, the pumpkin seeds, remember the seeds that we talked about on the inside? You can take those seeds out and dry them, and you can plant them. This is what they would look like. So it starts out as a seed, and you plant it. Now, just like corn, you would plant this in the spring, and then they're harvested in the fall. That's why you're here at Ramseyer Farms today. So it starts out as a seed, bury it in the dirt, the seed grows a shoot, and it opens up into a vine, green vine. Then the vine grows leaves, right? Are you tracking with me? How about you guys do this with me? Start out as a seed. All right, now let's grow. Grow to the little plant. Now it's a vine. Here's our vine. You don't want to go out too far and hit your neighbor. And now we're going to grow big green leaves. Put out your hands. Good. Now, do we have pumpkins yet? No. How do we get the pumpkin? All we have is a vine and a leaf. Does anybody know how we get a pumpkin? Yeah. Yes. Now, somewhere on the vine, it's going to grow a flower. So you can take your leaves down and let's grow a flower. Make it like this. Now, the flowers for orange pumpkins are nice and yellow, just like your shirt. They're nice and yellow. So when you go out to the pumpkin patch today, you will see yellow flowers because they're still growing. Now, that flower will grow and it needs a helper in order to make a pumpkin. You know what kind of helper it needs? No? It does need sun. Yep, it needs something else. You know? Yes, it needs bees. So the bee comes, goes to this flower, and then it goes to your flower, and it carries the pollen with it. And that pollen, when the bee comes back to this with more pollen on him, then that flower can grow a pumpkin. So just like our corn, the flower has to die, and the pumpkin starts to grow at the bottom of the flower. And pretty soon, the pumpkin is there, and the blossom is gone. If you take your pumpkin and turn it upside down, there's a spot. What do you think was on that spot? Yeah?
The flower?
Yes, that's where the flower was. Doesn't grow upside down, it grows sideways, but yes, that's where the flower was that fell off. So here at Ramseyer's, we like to call this the pumpkin belly button. Yeah, so when you find your pumpkin, turn it over and find the pumpkin belly button, because that's where it started to grow. Okay, something else in my basket. Okay, I do have time for this. Something else that they grow in here that we haven't talked about yet. It's planted in the spring, it's harvested in the fall, and it looks like peas, but they're not peas. Any ideas? Any ideas? Oh, how about you? What do you think it is? This green stuff is not grass. This is called soybeans. Have you ever seen soybeans like this before? Well, this is how they grow. Now, do you see these little things that look like pea pods? Can you see those? That's where the seeds are growing. And just like the corn, the soybean plants need to grow in the field. The beans need to grow in the pod, and then they need to dry out. So the plant actually has to die in the field before the farmer comes in and harvests the beans. This is what the soybeans look like when you take them out of the pod. They're little round beans. And they're hard again because we let them dry in the field. If we didn't do that, they would rot. So we can sell this to different factories, and they can make really neat things like soy milk nowadays. We can put soy into crayons or candles. There's lots of different beautiful smells and beautiful kinds of candles. They actually make yogurt out of soy. Lots of dairy products nowadays can be made out of soybeans. Here's some crayons that can have soy in them instead of other wax. So soybeans actually can be processed in a different way, a much different way that we wouldn't eat. It can be used in a fuels for tractors. There's lots of different things. Scientists are finding more and more things to do with soybeans. We grow lots of soybeans in this country. Okay, there's another kind. Take this out. There's another kind of crop in here that they grow here, and yes, I think so. And it's very special because it makes noise, and it's something that you can enjoy. Yeah, do you know what it is? Yeah, you're right. Here it is. It looks a lot like field corn, but it's a lot smaller. It grows on stalks just like our field corn, only they're a little bit smaller. They're, depending on the variety, they're usually about as tall as I am. The cobs are a little bit smaller, but they come in different colors as well. You can grow red popcorn, black popcorn, blue popcorn, white popcorn, yellow popcorn. That's about all that I know. There might be more out there. So same thing as the field corn. The popcorn has to grow. It has to grow the ear, and then the kernels need to dry before you harvest them. So many of us like to eat popcorn like this, right? Just pop it in the microwave. Yeah, that's okay. But there's a special way you can do it, and you can do this at home too. If you take a cob of popcorn, you can buy cobs here. You can buy cobs at the store probably, or just regular popcorn off the cob, but it's fun to do it on the cob. Stick it in a paper bag, stick it in your microwave. We're just going to do maybe 20 seconds, but if you wanted to do the whole thing, you would do a little bit longer than that. While that's going, I have a snack for you, and they just came in with our hand sanitizer, so I'm going to pass that around while we talk about our popcorn. I need a volunteer. Let me see. How about you, Delaney? Come on up.